everybody. Welcome to the first 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs of 2021. This is part of the 1Mby1M Global Virtual Accelerator. As you know, our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. We've been doing this for over a decade. It started with a New Year resolution that I wrote in 2010, January 1st, 2010, and you can still go to our blog and read that New Year resolution. I had no idea how I was going to do it, what was going to be the strategy, the mechanics, the tactics of doing a global virtual accelerator. But, you know, like most good entrepreneurs, we figured it out. And now it's been a very long-running program, and we've been able to touch entrepreneurs literally all around the world. And this includes, of late, places where we don't really market actively, but places like Africa, we have been seeing entrepreneurs coming even from Africa. India was always very big for us. Of course, you know, Silicon Valley, America has always been big for us. It always remains the #1 geography. But right from the get-go, India was very big for us because we had a lot of following already in India when we launched 1Mby1M among entrepreneurs through my writings. So India adopted 1 million by 1 million very quickly, but we are thrilled that, places like Africa where entrepreneurship is less mature, more nascent, and that they are finding on their own the program and are coming and using the resources. So it's really been a deep privilege for us to be able to contribute to the global ecosystem for entrepreneurship in a very meaningful way. So this is the 514th free public roundtable that we are doing, and over 150,000 people have participated in these sessions. In addition, we do a lot of private roundtables as well. In 1 week, we do at least one, if not more, private roundtables. So the online mentoring that we do has been very effective and has been the reason why we've been able to do 1 million by 1 million at scale. The event is being recorded. Every single recording of our roundtables are available on our YouTube channel, 1M1M Roundtable. On Twitter, we are at 1M1M and at Romana. You're welcome to follow either of those. We publish a lot of exciting content. You can learn a lot from that. You can stay on top of trends and so forth. Today, if you're live tweeting the show, use hashtag 1M1M. And this is a roundtable, not a broadcast, and we want you to participate as much as you would like to. These are the call-in numbers for participation. We're not quite ready right now. We have a lot of scheduled programming. We have a conversation, and then we have 3 entrepreneur pitches. It'll take us a while to get through all that, but then I'll open this up, put the slides back up, and you can dial in. We will start today's session with a conversation with Venktesh Shukla from Monta Vista Capital. Venk and I have known each other for a very long time. We were just chatting when we saw each other last. We're also both MIT alums, and it's a real pleasure to have you back here, Venk. I'm looking forward to catching up. I think we last had you over at this forum when you were just about launching Monta Vista Capital, and you were still, I think, running Thai Angels. Does that ring a bell? Venk, I think you're on mute.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Better. Go ahead.
Can you hear now?
Yes, we can hear now.
Okay. Last time when we talked, I just, I was no longer leading Thai Angels, and I had started Monta Vista Capital. Yes, those were the early days of Monta Vista Capital.
So tell us a bit about what has happened and how have you been evolving Monta Vista Capital? What are the learnings? What is the, where are you now in your thinking?
Yeah, it's been a very, very interesting journey. I think couple of things a couple of things got validated. I think one is that if I hang around with people my age, people talk about their health, people talk about their children, or complain about Trump. But with entrepreneurs, you're meeting the most optimistic people in the world. Some of them are irrationally optimistic, but it doesn't matter. The enthusiasm that they have, optimism that they have, it rubs off on you. And the second thing is that I liked about being a VC is that everyone who comes to us is an expert in some area, and they patiently teach you what they know. So I found that if you are intellectually curious, this is the fastest way of learning about a whole lot of things in the world. And I found that to be a very, very enlightening kind of a part of being a VC. And the third one that I found to my own surprise was that I actually add value. I mean, I think the fact that I've been a serial entrepreneur and I've been involved in so many different companies, I think does give some perspective that entrepreneurs find very helpful. Sometimes you take what you know for granted, and only when you interact with others to see when they give you that feedback that they found that valuable, you realize that you are adding some value. And so that has been, a very, 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 very interesting part of the journey. And the fourth one is really that the key thing learning for me has been that it teaches you really humility. You think that when you invest in something, you're investing with conviction, of course. But what happens to the company over the years, every time is a very unique, and every time is a very novel experience. And it's very hard, for as a VC to really predict, the future course of action. I mean, it's like a 6-digit lottery number, and as an experienced VC, you probably know 1 or 2 digits. The other 4 digits are still a mystery.
Yeah. I echo a lot of what you're saying because we see so many companies. It's been an incredible learning experience for me too, and it's on a weekly basis we get an opportunity to work with so many companies from so many different market segments, and also we have the media side of 1Mby1M, where we also learn from entrepreneurs and what they're doing and so forth. That is probably one of my favorite parts of my journey is just the structure that I have in 1Mby1M that exposes me to so much, and I am very intellectually curious, and I'm kind of like a sponge, and I feel very humble how little I know about all these different segments that we are working with. But at the same time, there are methodology elements that we have come up with in doing this for such a long time that apply to a lot of different scenarios. So we have, different kinds of playbooks that we have come up with. And if you're doing something in this kind of a business model in, let's say you're doing B2B selling to small businesses, there's a playbook for that. If you're doing B2B selling to enterprises, there's a playbook for that. If you're doing B2C transaction revenue, there's a playbook for that, stuff like that. And it's been really interesting. The value addition is more this knowledge of the playbooks and the, more predictable steps. And then there is the market that always surprises. So
yeah.
Great.
If you have a playbook for VCs, please share it with me.
Well, we can talk about some of that. We've seen, of course, now we've talked to, several hundred VCs who have been doing, smaller funds and interested in early stage. So we have learned quite a bit, and we can talk about some of that today. Let's start though with where you are investing right now, for our audience to understand your investment thesis and, what size fund, what size checks do you want to write, what kind of validation do you want to see before you're willing to write a check?
So, we invest in B2B. We typically invest, in our backyard, which is Northern California. And we typically write, check of, $1 million. It could be smaller if there is if they have other investors in the mix, or it could be as high as $1.5 million. And in terms of stage, it could be just 1 or 2% with an idea, with nothing there. We have found that we tend to be pretty unusual in that regard. That we don't, that if we like the idea, if we like the founder, even if it's just a glint in the eye of the founder, we are willing to write a check.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that everything that you're investing in B2B then is SaaS model, subscription revenue, and you're basically metricing on MRR, ARR?
It's not necessarily just enterprise. I mean, not just SaaS. There are 3 categories that really we, if I were to sort of look back and try to find a pattern among the investments we made in the first fund and in the second fund, I think the 3 sort of patterns kind of stand out. One is cloud or application infrastructure.
Yeah.
The second is, and that doesn't have to be SaaS. The second one is enterprise software, which is more often SaaS, and then the third category is application of cutting edge technologies to traditional industries, and with a view to completely transforming them. So there are so in every fund, we like we like those entrepreneurs who have some unique technology insight about how a traditional industry with application of technology could be completely transformed. And, that may or may not be SaaS, but it's typically software.
Okay. And what is the fund situation? It's been a while, so you're probably on a second or third fund at this point?
Yeah, the first fund was $10 million.
Yeah.
The second fund was $15 million. And right now we are in the process of, we're just kickstarting the process of raising a third fund of $50 million.
Okay. And how many companies have you invested in from first and second?
So first fund we invested in 22 companies. Okay. And then we realized that the companies that we are getting are very good companies. So we don't need to, so we should take a more concentrated position because our operating philosophy is to work very closely with the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So we decided that we don't need to invest in so many companies. All that we need to do is put more money in a smaller number of companies. So in the second fund, we have invested only in 13 companies, even though the fund was 50% bigger. And in the third fund also, we take the same approach, which is invest only in up to 15 companies in the third fund. Okay.
So now in all this, if you were to look back on the, let's say 30 odd companies that you've invested in across the funds, which ones are concept stage ventures that you have invested in without anything already built?
Practically every one of them.
Every one of them. Interesting. Very interesting. That's actually unique. And here's something, I'm going to give you some feedback on what's happening in the venture capital world and what people are doing right now, based on our discussions with hundreds of them, there's a lot of money available for companies that are doing some level of validation work and ideally generating some level of traction. So, people vary their investment thesis. So, the early stage has splintered into pre-seed, seed, post-seed, pre-Series A, small Series A, large Series A. And in that spectrum, there are people who are investing in, companies with a 15 million ARR, MRR if you're doing SaaS. Some people look for $1 million annual recurring revenue, which is about 80K, 90K MRR, before they're willing to write a check. So people have picked up different, milestones for validation, and then they're coming in to those stages. The capital that is willing to invest on just concept stage ventures is very, very limited. So I will first and foremost congratulate you on that investment thesis, because that is a style of venture capital that dates back to my youth, and that is disappearing in a way. So I'm really thrilled to hear that you are still practicing that hardcore pure form, pure play venture capital, and you're writing large checks to. It sounds like you're putting in $1 million into concept stage ventures. That's also quite rare.
Yeah, I think we try to syndicate. We have a number of times we have tried to syndicate our investment, and every single time we found that there aren't that many people willing to bet on a company which has nothing except a couple of founders, and so we pretty much So unless the founder has already found someone, we don't waste our time anymore on it. We just say, okay, we are willing to take the risk. We know that $1 million is not going to get you very far. It will certainly not prepare you for Series A, but at least it will get you maybe far enough so that someone else may want to invest at that stage, and we are willing to take that risk that you may not get it and we'll have to be shut down.
Right. So now, in that context, you already have a question from the audience, and I was about to ask you the same question as geography. Are these all Silicon Valley companies?
Yeah. I think that's one lesson that we learned, that, our style is such that we like to, we like to help companies, with, we like to interview, the first employees. We like to, help them, think through in terms of the strategy and the product market fit, and a lot of things that impact on culture. The first 50, 100 decisions that founders make, essentially, puts the foundation of the company, and we want to be involved in those kind of conversations. So we found that that physical proximity makes a difference. Now, if this virtual way of meeting continues forever, then the justification for investing only in Northern California would go away. But looks like this physical thing is not that far away. Another couple of quarters, we might still be able to meet for coffee. What I find is that if physical proximity allows us to sort of structured or unstructured, kind of a drop-in conversations, and that gives us a better insight into the same time zone. We have standard kind of a policy that anyone that we invest in has a right to talk to us anytime they need to. So it doesn't matter if it's 11 o'clock at night, if it's weekend, it's a holiday. I think if they think that it's important, they should just call. And with time zone, it becomes very difficult.
Yeah. And do you still maintain some of the, you've worked a lot in the India-US corridor. Do your companies tend to have an India, back end as they scale?
It's not, It's not given. It's not mandated. I think different companies are making different trade-offs. Some companies do have India a back end and a very, very aggressive and a very big size presence in India. But a lot of others, don't. They are just, some of them are purely Silicon Valley based. Some of them have Eastern European employees. Some of them have actually employees in Pakistan. Some of them are in Midwest or East Coast. So this all over the place.
Yeah. So my next question, Venk, is something that we, I think, touched upon a little bit when we spoke some time ago when you were getting started. So in the fund strategies, one of the things we are seeing is there is a class of funds that are still focused on finding unicorns. So they are looking for the very large billion-dollar market opportunities and very fast growth, building very fast growth companies and the traditional venture capital model. But there are 1,000 micro VCs out there right now, very small funds that are also, some of them are working in the mode that they will do the early stage, and some of them are looking for an early exit at a sub 50 million range. Some of them are doing maybe 2 or 3 years and then selling their stakes into the latter rounds, the larger rounds. Let's say if there's a large Series B or Series C going on and they're exiting into that. So how has your thinking evolved on that? Are you still focused purely on unicorns?
I would say no. I mean, well, first of all, in the first fund, we have, out of 20 companies that we invested in, 2 of them are already unicorns. Third one is on its way, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I think there will be a 4th unicorn also in the fund. So okay. As the hit rate goes of unicorns, I think somebody told me that the best fund in the history of venture capital, which is Sequoia, has a 5% unicorn hit rate. We are already at about 15% and may go to 20%. So we have done very well. Having said that, that's not how we look at it at all. I think our approach really is to look at founder market fit. Our approach is to look at how unique the insight that the founders have. Mm-hmm. and whether the market is really big or not. One thing that we don't want to do, we have learned, is that investing in small markets and betting on small outcomes is not any less risky than betting on big markets and big ambitions. And there are so many things that could go wrong in a startup, that the risk involved is, in a small outcome startup, really is not that much. There's a different kind of risk, but it is nevertheless risky. The only exception I have found is those markets which are not very big, but there's a massive barrier to entry because of technology. So, for instance, my previous industry, which is electronic design automation in the semiconductor space, where the domain knowledge is such a high premium, yeah, that if someone has solved, a very, very tough problem, even if the market is small, I think the probability of you getting an exit and a decent exit is very, very high. Mm-hmm. So I would make an exception for those kind of things. But yeah, otherwise, we look for, if someone comes and says, I'm doing this search and stuff, and I think one of these big companies will acquire me for $20-30 million or $40 million, that's not the thing that excites us, because there are a lot of things that could go wrong in a startup. And if you are taking a risk on a startup, it it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to limit by the size of the potential market.
Venk, I'm going to switch my questions on a particular trend that we are following very closely, which is the platform as a service trend. So if you look at Salesforce.com, Salesforce has done a superb job of not just building a whole CRM portfolio of products, they've also built a great platform on which a lot of great companies have been built, and they have acquired some of them have gone public. One of my favorite companies is Viva, which was built on the Salesforce stack. I mean, this company spent like $4 million, and then they raised more money, but they didn't really use it, and today there's this multi-billion-dollar awesome company, right? So one of my interests is to see, basically there are hundreds now of great SaaS companies in different domains that have achieved a certain amount of scale. Many of them are public, many of them are going public right now. 100 million ARR, 200 million ARR, 500 million ARR. And then there's a very large percentage of companies that are in the 50 million ARR and growing bucket. I would love to see, and then I've had conversations with a lot of CEOs who are thinking along these lines, is many of these companies have, the ability to create paths, move from SaaS to PaaS within their general domain, general ecosystem. What are you seeing in the earlier stages? Are SaaS companies starting to think PaaS from the get-go? They may not start as a PaaS company, but are they thinking along these lines because I think the really big companies are going to be built in this model going forward.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I think not every SaaS company can become a platform as a service. I think it depends on some other considerations, and I think this deserves us here a separate, a long discussion. As you said, it's very hard for some startup to start as a platform.
It's very hard. It's not recommended either.
Yeah, no one is going to bet on you. No one is going to bet their future on your platform. But having said that, I think if you have all the elements of a platform, I think once you are established enough, in fact, I have in our portfolio, we have a company that now has about 8 or 10 customers. And for those 8 and 10 customers now, it is bringing the third-party vendors onto their platforms. And if they cannot find those, they are building that functionality on top of their platform, which is not core to their SaaS offering in the first place. So I think this is how you take a baby step. That first you get a customer committed to your service, and then you say, by the way, I noticed that this function is not getting done, or you are dealing with third-party vendors, and you have to go through the integration and management and all those dealing, the negotiation and maintenance of the contract and stuff. Why don't you just do it through this platform? Either I'll get someone to write on top of my platform, or I'll write it myself. And that's how that journey starts. So we have one company who's taking that approach, you see, as we speak right now. And I think it's very exciting. But by the way, it takes time. It takes a long, long time.
It takes time, absolutely. Absolutely, it takes time. So talk a little bit about the unicorns in your portfolio, and I'll ask more as I hear about them.
So which are the unicorns you're saying?
Yeah, and what are they doing? What's exciting about them?
So, I talked about, one thing so let's talk about 3 different categories I mentioned that we invest in. And we have a unicorn, a soon-to-be unicorn in all those 3 things. One is cloud infrastructure. So we are invested in a company called Aviatrix. And Aviatrix, the CEO is Steve Malani. He sold his previous company, Nicera, to VMware for $1.2 billion with,
okay.
with zero revenue. And luckily this company has revenues, and so they do hybrid cloud, hybrid cloud networking infrastructure, doing very well. They're not a unicorn yet, but I think by the next round of funding they will be a unicorn. So that's one. The second category I talked about was enterprise software. So one of the companies we have invested in is Tekion, started by Jay Vijayan, who used to be the right-hand man of Elon Musk in Tesla. And he is doing, so he has a cloud-based CRM for car dealerships worldwide. And he just raised $120 million at $1.2 billion valuation about 6 months ago. And the third one is, third category I mentioned was using technology to disrupt very traditional industries. And in that category, my one company is a bra company called Third Love. And they have, one of the reasons Victoria's Secret is in bankruptcy is because of Third Love, direct to consumer kind of a thing. When somebody walks into Victoria's Secret showroom and picks up his undergarment and walks out, Victoria's Secret knows nothing about that person.
Right.
If you go to Third Love, you go there and you select. In the process of selecting, see what might be the appropriate fit for you. They are collecting 30 data points on each woman, and they have this kind of data on 16 million Americans. So 480 million data points versus none. The advantage they have is similar to the advantage that Google has as your other companies. So
this is a B2C though. You said you're only doing B2B, but this is an exception.
This is the only exception, and we did it in the first fund. Now we are not doing. We realize that these kind of things are available in the B2B. Disruption of a traditional industry is available in B2B format also. Yes. And what we realized was that the value that we bring to a B2C company is very little. So we decided not to invest in B2C anymore after that.
So one trend that we are seeing on this category in B2B SaaS is kind of companies that are starting with two-sided SaaS and then evolving into a SaaS-enabled marketplace. So vertical marketplaces, this is something that you would find interesting. We don't really have the time to go deep into this trend. We have had sessions where we've gone deep into this trend with investors that are specializing in that. And I've seen quite a few companies in that, and I find it actually very interesting and a very intelligent way to approach marketplaces.
Huh. Okay. That's interesting.
Is there anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't, that you would like to cover in this session before we start the entrepreneur pitches?
No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Last question, actually, I think of something. Is there a SaaS company in your portfolio that will, with time, be a perfect PaaS play?
Perfect PaaS play?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a company called Fortella. Right now they're a SaaS company helping the CMOs, chief marketing officers, look at all the activities marketing does, with the viewpoint of revenue. Right now, marketing organizes, lead-based kind of a thing, or they do account-based thing, they do trade shows, they do this and this. Nothing tells them that if the CEO says, hey, we need to do $25 million more with oil and gas companies in southwestern United States in Q4. What can you do? And there are no tools that exist today for marketeers to optimize for that kind of an outcome, which is completely revenue-focused outcome. How do you start from that? And then you see, work backwards and say, what are the things that marketing needs to do to accomplish that outcome? So that's their core offering today. But in the process, they had to build a massive data platform that can take Mercato, Salesforce, Anaplan, all of those kind of different tools that exist to get data from all of them. And in the process, they discovered that all these 20, 30 marketing technology tools, they're all point tools. They all need to get their data from one of these underlying, of record. So why not spare the companies from all that one by one kind of negotiation and integration, and instead just have a platform play?
Interesting, very interesting. And how far along is this company?
They are still young. They still have not even raised Series A, but they have about 10, 12 customers, including some big ones like Nokia, BMC, and TIBCO, and all those kind of things. So we are pretty bullish about them.
And this sounds like it's a large enterprise sale, right? So it's a $1 million kind of per customer revenue, yeah?
Not really. No. It's not that. It is enterprise, but it is. But the entering footprint is very, very small. I think it's somewhere between 50 to 100K, and then they keep adding. You say this service and that service, and that's how the footprint gets bigger.
Okay, very interesting. We do these. We have a lot of media activity, and we do very detailed stories. So one of the thresholds we have is $5 million in annual revenue. Once this company reaches $5 million in annual revenue, send them to us and we'll do a detailed story. We try to cover all the interesting trends. So by the way, that offer exists for any of your companies. If they're already at $5 million revenues, send them to us and we'll do very extensive stories on them.
Oh, okay. Great. No, good to know that.
All right. Well, thank you, Venk. It's great catching up. Let's listen to some entrepreneur pitches.
All right. Great. Thanks. I'll just...
Okay, folks, just to set some expectations, this is a safe working session. This is not Shark Tank. We're not trying to entertain millions of people by being snarky and silly and so forth. Shark Tank is a very popular show, but this is not Shark Tank. We just brainstorm about your strategy. That's the reason for why we're doing this. If you disagree with the feedback you get here, that's fine. It's your company. You're going to be doing what you want to do. Our job is to give you feedback that's based on our experience, and you can take it or leave it. We're going to start with Holger. Amelia is the company. Holger, please unmute your line and tell us what you're doing.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Ramana, for having me today, having us today. It's a great pleasure to be here. My name is Holger Ippach. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Amelia Era. Amelia is a company really built on the idea of making faster transportation, express logistics, available to a much broader group of people, specifically for heavy goods. And we do this by building an electric autonomous cargo aircraft, which you can build. So think of it as a flying cargo van, basically, for lack of a better term. A little bit about myself. I've had 15 years of leadership in sales and marketing at both my own companies as well as Fortune 500 companies. I am actually a certified pilot for drones and small aircraft, and we're based in the Bay Area. I personally live in Mountain View. We're all locked in place right now. That's where I'm calling in from. If you could go to the next slide, please. So the hypothesis of what we have is, I mean, many of you have heard about how e-commerce has completely put different demands on the delivery of the last mile delivery. This is basically people delivering your Amazon package to your house or many or your urgently needed goods and supplies if you're a small business. What is less known is this has actually put a lot of pressure on the logistics of goods further up the chain, commonly referred to as the middle mile logistics. And this is all driven by both software innovation due to AI, but also due to different expectations. Both consumers and businesses now expect to have their things delivered on time and as they want. However, in the middle mile, that innovation hasn't really happened today, but the pressure is on. And the main sectors that actually see a lot of demand for having things delivered even faster and in smaller quantities is e-commerce, of course, but then also pharmaceuticals. Think of vaccines in the current environment, and the whole manufacturing sector. You could go to the next slide, please. Key here is, and this is probably a lesser known fact, 80% of everything that arrives at a business at some point in time in the US is actually transported on a standardized packaging format called the pallet. As humble and as small as the piece is, but it's very, very important. And typically those things are being transported in cars, vans, and trucks. You go to the next slide, please. And there are several shortcomings in this transportation day. First of all, it's very slow. And slow is fine to some degree, but if it's too slow, it actually starts to cost real money. And analysts estimate that the cost of delays just in this transportation of goods on pallets today it values to about $6.5 billion per year. That's just the indirect cost caused by the delays. Of course, the environmental impact of transporting goods in trucks is huge. Trucks is responsible for half of all the nitrous oxide emissions in the United States. And unfortunately, it's become more and more unpredictable. Nowadays, 6 out of 100 deliveries actually don't meet the mark for on-time delivery in that sector, and that's what's causing all of that cost. You can go to the next slide, please. Our answer to this problem is an aerial cargo delivery system. Basically, what we want to achieve is we want to give our customers the performance of a transport helicopter, but at the cost and simplicity of operating a van. Basically, the system is made out of two pieces. It's an aircraft that flies by itself, and a cargo port that is specifically designed to take in palleted goods. In doing so, if you go to the next slide, please, we have a competitive advantage. As you can imagine, such vehicles are not particularly cheap. They have a high initial cost for our customers. So our customers can only use them effectively if they can be operated 24/7. Since we are an electric vehicle, minimizing downtime and charge time is key to our concept. And so the idea behind the solution here is basically these cargo pods are being kept at ground facilities and they house the battery. And in doing so, we can actually allow them to be charged ahead of time for when they're needed. And when it's time to transport something, a pallet of goods is loaded into those pods, door is closed, and the pod is on wheels and can be pushed out, where it will be connected to the aircraft, and the aircraft is preloaded with its mission. We'll pick up the whole thing and fly it to its destination. On the other side, it can be unloaded with the pod connected, or the pod can actually be detached, a new pod can be connected, and we keep on flying. And to explain a bit the economics, building the aircraft is the expensive part. A pod, while not completely for free, even if it houses the battery, is only about 10% of the cost of the overall solution. So in having multiple pods, we can therefore ensure that the expensive part, which costs 90% of it, can be operated around the clock and is worthwhile the invest for our customers.
Very
if you could go to the next slide, how do we make money and how do we go about? Needless to say, our customers are highly specialized in what they do. So our target group of customers is logistics companies, and we've listed a couple here. These are the ones that we've spoken to in some capacity or another. So think of cargo airlines, but also think of your typical freight forwarders like FedEx, UPS. Think of general logistics companies, XPO, Old Dominion. Also large retailers and e-commerce companies and their logistics departments. The business model is very straightforward. We build and manufacture or outsource manufacturing of the aircraft and then sell it on a unitary basis. As with anything that flies, there is scheduled maintenance, even if we want to keep it to a minimum. And we will provide the maintenance support through authorized partners. And with regards to the pods, because for every aircraft sold, there's multiple pods, we are considering selling or potentially leasing with a financial partner those pods because they might be ending up at our customers, which is an extra stream of revenue for us. You could go to the next slide, please. How big is...
What is just a second, before you move to, what is the price of, what price point are you planning to sell this at?
We have not fully disclosed a final price point. It's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars for one of those units. We know there is competition in this field. We know one of our competitors is targeting around about $1 million, but their solution is way more complicated and has a couple of shortcomings compared to our solution. So we're targeting. I will give you a very broad range. It's somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million unitary price of one of those.
Okay.
In terms of market size, we've interestingly enough, we came up with our own sizing first, and now actually investors in this area have confirmed that data. Our reasoning here is if you look at the market for vans today, cargo vans, which is really the thing for which we are a perfect substitute and a better alternative, there's around about 400 to 500,000 of those cargo vans sold in the United States alone every year. Now, some of those will be needed in the future because there is a whole part of transportation where cost is the sole and only factor, and our alternative will always come at a premium. To give you an idea, at our current calculation, we probably demand a 20 to 40% premium on a like-for-like transport of the same goods for the faster delivery and the higher predictability. We expect that to come down, but there will always be a significant part of transportation where it's purely down to cost and time is the value, the monetary.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What are the air traffic control implications of this? If you have,
yes.
high traffic. Yeah, go ahead,
yes.
please.
Very good question. Thank you. So I'm happy to say that one of our founders, one of my co-founders, he's actually been deeply involved at the development of a piece of software that manages air traffic and prepares the air traffic management systems for these kind of scenarios where you will have thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of autonomous vehicles flying through the air. And the regulation is progressing as we speak. And this is also very important in terms of timing. We are not the first company to market or the first company that's come forward with a with tackling that problem by flying the goods through the air. Our solution is very unique. There's nobody else doing an all-electric vehicle, which actually has a lot of benefits. One of them is you have less dependency on aircraft fuel infrastructure, for example. But with our timelines, we will be ready to go to market right when we expect the regulation actually to be ready for this framework. And we understand the requirements as they stand today very well. Two of the three co-founders are flying aircraft ourselves. I'm flying drones, as I said before. I'm authorized to fly drones for commercial purposes. We do understand the regulatory framework extremely well, and we know that none of the other companies that may have started earlier than us will be ready to enter into commercial phase until the regulation is ready, and we expect this to be in about 4 years from now. So clearly the trend is there. The regulatory authorities are preparing for this. They know this is coming, but as with any kind of regulator or government, it will take its time, and it's hard to predict for us, or hard to control that. That's clear. I think we have very good prediction on when it will be in the timeline. Does that answer?
In the interest of time, what brings you here?
So what I was hoping for today, I mean, it's twofold. Number one, to give you a bit of a status of the company, we've basically built a small-scale prototype of what we want to do, all based with our own money. The three founders, we haven't taken any outside investment, but we know to take the next step and to build a larger prototype and to validate some of our engineering challenges, we have to raise serious money. You see it here, 1.3 million. Is our target. That would basically give us 1.5 years of runway and allow us to complete the creation of that prototype. But the main challenge we're facing is, and you've hinted to some of that before, is when talking to potential investors, many of them want to see traction with customers, which, I mean, and I've worked in software myself before. It's very easy to create a minimum viable product. If you're building an app, I don't want to downplay it, but it can be done in a reasonable amount of time. Versus what we're trying to do here has a pretty long time frame. We are talking to interested parties, but we can't secure.
In the interest of time, Holger, let me comment on where you're going with this. There's a whole category of startups that fall in the lean startup, bucket, that are possible to do in the mode that you start validating and then, start developing traction and the funding there's a large amount of funding and a large number of funds that know how to operate with that mode of startups. Then there's a whole other category that we call fat startups, and those are much harder to fund. And there's a much fewer number of funds that know how to fund fat startups or are willing to fund fat startups. So first and foremost, you have to make that in your, one thing I say all the time to our community is that just like you're looking for product market fit, you're going to need to look for investor entrepreneur fit. Otherwise, you will not be able to raise money. So you have to set aside the lean startup investors and you have to look for the fat startup investors, which is in itself a complicated exercise. And then you have another set of complications here is that even within the fat startups, you're going to face another sub-segmentation of firms who are willing to take that regulatory risk. Very few firms do that. And then the proxy would be the companies, the investors who have funded the autonomous vehicle trends. There have been funds who have funded autonomous vehicles without the regulatory framework in place. And what has happened in that segment, if you study the autonomous vehicle segment, what has happened is the VCs have funded some things and then they've sold it way before the regulatory framework kicks in gear. The regulatory framework for autonomous vehicle has still not kicked in gear. But you will see exits have already happened, like GM has bought things and so on and so forth. So that could be a path for you as well. So as you're thinking about how to tell this story, fundraising is about telling a story behind which you can get investors to rally. And you have to learn to tell that story, and you have to find those investors who are willing to listen to a story like that. That's going to be your game.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. All right. We are actually, Faiz Khan, I don't think is here, so we are going to go to the next person, and that's Jagjia. You've sent a lot of messages.
So I think I got a newer version. Could I share my screen, or I just email the newer version to Marine?
No, I think you're gonna have to work with this. We can't deal with all that.
That's fine. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'll start. There's a Chinese proverb saying that a good neighbor is better than a brother for us. I still remember the time when my grandma asked me to deliver a thank you note and freshly baked cookie to my neighbor. I still remember how we greet each other, ask for and offer help. How sweet it was. But I couldn't see that anymore. Life became more isolation. So here we are. Can we go to the next slide? So here's the team. So we have actual team members, but for now it's me. I work at Peking University at KPMG, graduated from UBC, and we have an advisory board, Bob Xu, who is a very famous angel investor, and I got another 2 tech co-founders, which work at Amazon as software engineer. So Let's go to the next slide. So the problem is that people sometimes have inconvenience, and they feel a sense of isolation. They don't have connection with neighbors, and neighbors can easily help them out with inconvenience, like pick up some groceries while also going to grocery store. The real problem is that there's no channel to know each other's needs and connect. So how we solve it is, can we go to the next slide? We are building a mobile app with 2 side markets. The first side is community vendors. They offer commission to us for the orders from our platform. The second side is the neighbors living in the same building apartments, and they can help others with some simple tasks like picking up some groceries while also going to grocery store. By doing so, they get 20% discount for their own purchase, and they get to know their neighbors and connect with them. Can we go to the next slide, please? And these are our 3 hypotheses. And neighbors are willing to help each other, and they want easy way to connect with others. And the community vendors willing to offer discounts for us. Can we go to the next slide? And here we have done interviews. We have done more than 200 so far. And from my interviews, and 38% of them just to get connection with them by helping others. And 13% is just get discount by helping others with simple tasks. And 41% have for both kindness and discounts. But for the other 8%, they just don't interest. So I'm not going to worry about them for now. Then we'll go to the next slide, please. And the value proposition is that neighbors doing so because they want to get discounts, and they want to connect with neighbors, and they want to build trust. Also, in the future, there will be a community profile for each neighbor where people can see how many people they help and how many people help them, and their comments about other neighbors. It's like LinkedIn, but for next billions of neighbors. Can we go to the next slide, please? And here our paddle diagram. So we have competitors like food delivery companies and tax-based service like TaxRabbit and neighborhood hub like Nextdoor. Yeah, can we go to the next slide, please? And here is the market size for our first business model. So our market, we are targeting at students living on campus in both Canada and US. For some, we are targeting at students living on campus at UBC. For some, it will be 7 million students living on campus in Canada and the US. For TAM, we added another 2 million people living in downtown apartments. Thank you. Next slide, please. And here are our 3 business models. First one, we earn commissions from the community vendors. For example, when the boy is going to pick up orders for both of the boy and the girl, and he will get 20% discount for his own purchase. And the vendors will provide the commission for both the boys and girls orders to us. And the girl will pay regular price for her order with 100 free delivery. And the 20% of the girl's order will be the revenue of our platform. And the second business model is that yeah?
I got it. Have you tested any of these ideas?
Yes, we did. Yeah. In September, we did MVP test. So it's in a dorm building. So we got 12,000 revenue with 200 orders in just 1 month. And we also did a prototype and interviewed 200 interviews. We did 200 interviews, and we got pretty positive market response. And
no, I'm not asking about interviews. Have you actually done this? Like, I mean, this the obvious channel for this is next door, right? You can connect with people in a neighborhood,
yeah.
And you can. Have you taken a neighborhood on Nextdoor and tried to actually do this?
Yeah, like I first said, I did MVP test in a dorm building and got revenue and customers.
Sorry, come again?
So we did an MVP test in a dorm building at UBC. So
okay.
We launched with a WeChat group and mini ordering app. So peers help each other pick up groceries. We're also going to grocery store, and we were also in partnership with a grocery store on campus. So in that month, we got 5,000 revenue with 200 orders within just dorm building with 29 students participating in our platform. And now we are going to launch next MVP. It's a Facebook page with mini ordering app, and we got 500 people already signed up on our waitlist in 2 days.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And these are our timeline for next couple of days. We are going to launch like a Facebook page, third MVP, and for February 28th, we're going to launch another phone app, a real phone app, and for neighbors to download it. And for September, we're going to operate together with a Facebook page and the phone app. And we're going to get A round at that time.
And you've already joined Y Combinator?
No, we're joining in the summer batch. We haven't submitted the application yet.
Oh, you haven't applied yet?
No, but we have already got alumni feedback and partners' preference.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So what brings you here?
I don't know. I just see it. I'm really interested in Roundtable, so I just learning some feedback. Maybe some potential investors here.
Okay, I will talk about how to use the program in the next segment. So just hang on, and then you can ask questions if you have other questions after that.
Yes, sure.
Okay, folks, I'm going to explain to you how to use 1 million by 1 million in a moment. If you like what we do here, please recommend 1Mby1M to serious entrepreneurs. The word serious is in bold because it takes a lot of work and many years of commitment to build a successful company. And I would say 1 million by 1 million is a very rigorous program, and only people who are really serious about building businesses can succeed in this program. So that's just the caveat. Resources-wise, you can go to 1Mby1M.com. Everything is there. You will find a free blog series that is terrific, and I strongly recommend you follow the entrepreneur journey from me if you're an entrepreneur, and you will learn a lot from that. Based on that entrepreneur journey series on the blog, we have published 12 books on specific topics. So, bootstrapping using services, for instance, is a topic, and we have a whole range of stuff, case study-based discussion on that topic, and we have published a book based on that body of case studies, so on. These roundtables happen every week. you're most welcome to come back as many times as you want to. You can pitch only once for free. After that, you would need to join the premium program if you want further interaction with me. The premium program is our full acceleration program. We offer you extensive methodology guidance, access to our digital curriculum. We help you with business development, and we have this kind of strategy consulting within the framework of our private roundtables, members-only roundtables. We do help you with financing, and we also help you with media relations. I will give you more pointers of how to understand what is where. I strongly recommend you use the self-assessment that is available for free on our website to assess where you are and what do you have and what you don't have. These are the due diligence questions that investors are going to ask you. I also suggest that you do the bootstrapping course on our website. So if you go to the blog, the course is pinned to the top, and it will take you about an hour to finish going through the videos in the course, and it will be a very good starting point to engage with 1 million by 1 million. That is available for free. If you're getting stuck on the self-assessment questions, the best way for you to learn the deeper methodology of 1 million by 1 million is by accessing our curriculum. 1 million by 1 million basic gives you access to our curriculum. It's only $99 a month. That could be a very good way for you to get started. So go dig around on the website, and you can understand what to expect from premium, what to expect from basic. There are FAQs, video FAQs, and so on. The curriculum is discussed and described in detail on the website as well. It is a case study-based curriculum. We give you blueprints. We were talking about blueprints with Venk earlier on. We have given you a lot of blueprints, and in the curriculum, these are organized in a very structured way, and you can find lots of blueprints of what you need to follow, and I will give you pointers accordingly. So you can learn a lot from what other people have done. If you're coming here in search of investor introductions, the answer is yes, we make investor introductions. You will need to go through the investor introduction section where we describe in detail our policy. So if you go to the website, there is a button on the top right corner in the navigation bar for investor introductions. Please go through that policy guideline before you join. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startup. Our mantra is bootstrap first, raise money later. Do not go to VCs as beggars, go as kings. So to do that, mostly it's the lean startup methodology that allows you to create validation as you go along and then bring funding as you go along. That's the methodology. That is a higher probability way of building businesses. So that's what we emphasize mostly. All right, that's all. We have 3 more roundtables coming up this month, and then basically every month we have at least 4 roundtables. So you're very welcome to find a slot where you want to come and discuss your venture with me. We also do LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, and Twitter Live online rendezvous on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific. Catch me there. And that's it. If you want to talk today further, you're welcome to dial in. These are the call-in numbers. There's a bunch of questions and points over here in the public chat. I think Malka is asking about concept stage ventures. I would say, Malka, the bulk of the concept stage investment goes to entrepreneurs with a track record. That is exactly right. The other questions, I think, are answered. Umang, you asked Venk, do you invest in solo founder startups in India? And his answer was no, he only invests in Silicon Valley. All right, folks, let me also introduce you to Irina Patterson on our team, Irina at 1Mby1M.com, and she will answer further questions about the program if you have any. That is all for today. If you have any questions, I will answer further questions. Otherwise, we are done with all the scheduled programming. Anybody, questions? You can type in your questions in the public chat as well. Any questions, folks? Yes, no? Jack, I think what you are showing here is the kind of company that is going to cost a lot of money to build, because this is not going to be a lean startup. So, which means that you're going to have to show a path to fast viral growth of what you're offering very quickly. And that's what, in B2C startups like what you're showing, investors invest if you can show early signs of viral adoption. So in all your strategic planning, try to see if you can create virality and what are the mechanics and techniques that you can put in to generate virality, and then you have to exhibit virality. The thing that I like about what you showed is that you can generate revenue as you go along. So I think your focus should be also on generating revenue and keeping yourselves solvent as you are building this venture. Do not ignore the revenue aspect. So if you have any questions about, I'm happy to work with you more closely and giving you ongoing feedback on exactly how to do these things. In that case, you need to follow the 1M1M program. You need to join 1M1M Premium, and I will be happy to work with you on this. But keep in mind two things. One is the virality strategy, and two is the ongoing revenue generation strategy. Okay? Anybody else? Any other questions, folks? All right. Well, I don't see any other questions, and I don't see anybody on the line. So we're going to adjourn for today, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. Happy New Year.